First question, how to answer law problem question. Before I dive in straight, I'm going to say two things. These are the two tips. First, learn like you know that your life depends on it. And secondly, start early to start learning. That is the best way to actually incorporate these very tips. So the first thing, when you want to answer law problem questions, as a law student, there's something we call IRAC Rule or IPAC Rule, which is I stand for issue, R or P stands for principle or rule, A stands for application, and C stands for conclusion, which is you first of all have to understand what is the issue, what is the rule you are going to apply, or the law you are going to apply. That is the rule. Then how would you apply in that set, which that issue you brought out? How would you apply the law? Then how you apply it to the case? Then of course conclusion is whereby you advise the parties, or it might not be anything like advice, you just give your legal opinion on which party has a good course of action in court. Hello once again. So this is like an announcement video, a short clip in this very video where I want to share like concepts on what I really like to share about. So in the description down below, the first thing you see is grab a copy of my book. So I wrote an ebook or a book or an online course, whatever you want to call it, on Beyond the Bar. It's titled Beyond the Bar, Mastering How to Answer Problem or Questions and Essay Questions. I want you to like read my book. I like note down the very intricate parts because I made sure to be as comprehensive as possible. Like if you look down in the table of contents when you get to download the book, I wrote like every single thing, and I also made it very accessible. So the book is not just you sliding through to what you want to see. You get to look at the table of contents and pick what you want. So please get to download my book. It's for free. That's like no money, and I'm happy I'm doing it for free because I'm like, this is something I want to share since. And I really want to say a very big shout out to Claire. She made a comment on my video, I think a video I made on mistakes to avoid as a first year law student, everything you need to know. Thank you to her for making this video very possible, because without her commenting, trust me, I don't think I would have been like, trying to make this video. But I really thank Clara for that exposition, for that comment. So thank you. And that is the first announcement. The second announcement is, if you check, the first link is of course my book. Okay, that is my book. Then the second link is my link tree. Link tree basically is a link that allows you to implement or incorporate all your links in one place. So my link tree, you have like a part for my book also, so like you're doing everything without downloading the book straight from the link, the first link. Then I also have a study playlist, that is if you love to study with music, that music I've created the best music for you to study, so you won't lose. So I also have a worship playlist, so those that love to pray with God, you want to study in the morning, your morning routine or your evening routine, and you like really need good playlist to pray and worship, I've got that in my link tree also. And I made a 30-day challenge on my Medium where for 30 days I didn't miss a single day with everything I believe every student would need to excel in school, like everything, the tips, the method, the habits and whatnot. If you check out my Medium, you read every single thing, I get insights, and I offer free. I made it for everybody to access, for every membership. Then yeah, of course, I've got a community on my Telegram. You get to click and join the Telegram community. It's called Learner's Hub. And if you're like a personal space, if you're not like so active on Telegram, you need like an active space on WhatsApp. There's also an active WhatsApp group for you or to join in from Telegram to WhatsApp. Okay, you can ask me different questions, you can get to know me personally or whatever. Then I think that's that for the announcements. The book, the music playlist for studying, the worship playlist for praying or worshiping God, my reading my articles on Medium, which are very good for every student, I believe. Then also Telegram community, WhatsApp community. What else did I not talk about? Anything I missed out, I will share it in another video. But for now, back to the video. Go and how to answer problem questions, okay? The first is the issue. But now, I don't like going straight into the issue, the rule, the conclusion, application, whatsoever. The first thing I advise you to do is be exceptional, be different. So this is how it's going to work. What I normally do, it's not like I'm trying to be extra or anything. What I normally do is, for the first thing, I look at the question. For example, now, you were given a scenario that Amaka is a landlord. Let me use another name. Sarah is a landlord, you get. And one of our tenants called Williams or Uche decided that he's not going to pay rent because there are some structural damages in the house, and he feels I can't pay rent when I have damages that have not been fixed. And these are like past couple of months, he doesn't want to pay. So now you look at the question, okay, what is this bordering on? Where is the background of this? What is this thing talking about? I don't just go straight to the issue. I will not tell myself, okay, the above hypothetical case scenario is bordering on basically law of tenancy or tenancy agreements or issues. So I'm giving the lecturer the idea that I know where this is coming from. I know where this case scenario above is emanating from. So I know where to pick my laws. I know where to pick a stand. But be very mindful. I don't want you to write so like this thing to be too long to take away, like take up the whole one page of the book. No, I want it to be as like very concise as possible, because the lecturer has to see the answers already immediately seeing your script in that first page. So because if you're not seeing the answer, it will just be, so doesn't know what saying. No, you don't want that. You need the lecturer to see your answer immediately at the first page of the book. So you already just brought out the introduction. This is emanating from law of tenancy, whatever. Then you now go to the issues. The issues basically, I want you to understand three things. Who are the parties? What is the problem here? And which question is the law going to answer? You know, when it comes to issues, we are looking at understanding the legal problem. See it as that, understanding the legal problem, not just whether or not, understanding the legal problem. So now Amaka is a landlord to the tenant, the house she built, and she has tenants. One of the tenants, Williams, or which should be in the case, or Amaka or Sarah, now is saying they will not pay rent because there are structural damages. So you now have to ask the question. You ask whether or not Uche's or John's or Williams' decision to pay rent is actually a valid cause of action in court. And we can also add whether or not the structural damages is an enough excuse or justified in court. So now you brought out the two, whether or not, whether this is valid, whether this is going to be justified, blah blah blah. And end of the question is advise Amaka or advise William. In that case, so Amaka or William or Amaka or John, whatever. So now that you brought out the legal issues, that in that legal issues, you've now understood who the parties are. What is the problem, what is actually happening, what are the facts. The fact are like the story of the case, because for every case is a story, so you need to connect the law with the facts of the case. Now the second thing, of course, is your rule, which is what law are you going to apply, what principle of books are you going to apply here, what sections of the code. That is what the rule is. The rule is all the things that the law provides for you to use. You know, when you write exam, they'll be like, support your authority, support your argument with judicial and statutory authorities. Judicial authorities are case law, precedents, laws that have been made before in court. I mean, cases in courts. The precedent, you have to apply the decision of the court to this case. Then statutory authorities are the sections of different laws made by National Assembly or State of Assembly. So now, you now tell yourself, okay, this legal background, this legal case scenario is emanating from tenancy law. You go and look for the tenancy act of that particular state, because sometimes some tenancy laws relate to the particular state it's from. But if it's like a general act, you just go to tenancy act and look for where payment of rent is going to apply to this case, which is what excuses will be applied here, what reasons to be given for tenancy. Because for every law there are going to be exceptions. Even in the exception, there's also going to be an exception. That is, for every general rule there's an exception. So normally in the tenancy act, you have to pay your rent, except the damages are very severe, not minor. Minor damages, I'll give you example. Maybe your window broke or your tap is no more working, you get something like that. That is like minor structural damages. But major structural damages, whereby maybe the roof of your ceiling like opened, or what's it called, earthquake happened or something like that, I don't know, and the roof and everything scattered, your walls scattered, your door broke down, you can't even, like, water everywhere. Those are like severe damages. It's so bad that it makes it uninhabitable, so you can't live there. That is the only excuse. The law says in tenancy act you would have to pay your rent, except the damages are so severe that you can't live in that place. It's not a place for someone to actually stay to live. Unless that, you have to pay your rent. So Uche now refusing to pay his rent for just minor damages. So you have to check if the damages of Uche are minor or are severe. If it's minor, then of course the Tenancy Act will not support him. Then what you will not do is, because you not just add sections of the law, you have to add cases. Cases helps your work to be very profound, and it gives you this idea that you actually did your research. You get so. And it also help you to be able to prehensile the things that you've been taught, which is the sections of the law are really good, but understanding cases and how they apply make your work better. It just makes your brain better, and you're able to remember things easier. So example, you say for common law cases, you have Onuku and Eze. This time the Supreme Court, that's what the rule is very important. The rule is very important. The Supreme Court stated that in Onuku and Eze, tenancy agreements with each parties have to be so severe for payment of structure not to be made. Blah blah blah. That is just the cases. And you can also, what I normally do is whenever I have like lot of cases, like tons of cases in my head, especially in criminal law, I also have Arrow and No, Mbaka and Arrow, State and Makodi, State and Luca. Those ones where the cases are too much, you write C also. So he just tells the lecturer that she's good, this person knows what she's doing, this person knows what he's doing. Do you get that? Is very crucial. So don't just limit your work and not be. But one thing with rule and principle is stay relevant and be very precise. Don't go over your head, don't go overboard. You are bringing out the laws that are related to the very question, that are relevant to the answer of the legal issue, that are going to tackle the legal issue, not extra. The cases you are going to bring out has to be related, has to be in connection with the legal issue. That is the rule. Then now the third thing is application. I need you to be as good as possible. I need you to incorporate storytelling, like not just seeing the client as a client, see the person as you are fighting for this person. The way and mannerism you would have to put in court physically to fight for your client. I want you to see that in this very exam when you write your exams. So you would apply everything. There should be a connection, there should be a linking. You're linking the fact of the case, the issues, the rules, the laws, and the application. You see that? Okay, for now, that's the application. Example now, with the instances I've created above. The Tenancy Act of, that is that Amaka now has sued Uche to court, or has sued Williams to court, claiming for payment of our rent. So you now bring up the rule as stated in Tenancy Act of 2019, that for every payment, for every excuse that would be justified in court for non-payment of rent is only when the structural damages are severe. So you're not arguing in court that Amaka's structural damage, Uche's structural damages are not severe and as such are not excused by law, and there's no justification for the non-payment of rent, and he doesn't have a good cause of action in law, and my client Amaka will have to get compensation for these damages because she came to court, so she has to get the compensation for taking that money and sweating to court, and also get the payment of her rent. And if he still refuses, obviously the court tell you have to leave the apartment. They'll be giving you instant exit out of the apartment. You get, but that's just for you applying this thing. You have to apply it. You have to say also, to buttress vehemently, in the case of Onuku and Eze, the Supreme Court or the Court of Appeal, whatever, made this very decision stating that for every structural damages, there should be application for this and this. Like you are seeing, you're connecting the facts, applying law to buttress your points, then going for that to bringing out a precedent that has before been applied and agreed by the court to your case, so that like a lot of proof that your case would also get accepted. So of course that is like the normal thing. Then conclusion, that is not advising the party that is the conclusion, advising the party that Amaka has a good cause of action in court, and as such Uche or Williams has to pay his rent. Non-payment of the rent would immediately bring for immediate sack off or immediate exit, that you even call it. So that's just it. You have the issue, the rule, the application, and the conclusion. So now for like really bonus tips I want to share with you all here is, in as much as this rule, application, issue, conclusion are like the general, I think like most of the law students would understand it. There are certain things that we might not get to know, which is one, answering the following question determines your level of critical thinking, which is take your time to read books, to watch movies, like really good thrillers, legal movies as well. Your brain needs to be on every time. Your brain needs to be able to see a particular issue and know what's happening. So you need to read like a lot. That's the second thing. Read and read as much as possible. Your legal textbooks, don't just read cases because you want to read cases. Read it in depthly, like put in your eye and read it, like, don't just read it skipping it. Read it so well, understand it, what exactly is the difference between and this and this. So for example now, and what I normally used to do is, if you want to still do it, is for every week I tell myself 3 days of the week I learn something new in legal word. One of them was what I learned watching Partner Track. Is called a MAC clause. A MAC clause basically is a material adverse change clause. I had to learn intricacies and the whatnot. So you don't just learn what it means, learn the application of that rule or that law you've learned. It just like embody you. It's of course broaden your horizon. Like you'll be very good. You see yourself excelling in different places and different parts in law, because you don't just need to stick yourself to one part. You need to understand every other part, especially now that you're in school, not working already. Because that in Nigeria we learn like almost every law, like almost all the law. You just have to learn it. So that's for answering law problem question. There's something I also want to explain when it comes to answering law problem question. This is going to sound funny, but I always have like my pens, my blue pen, my red pen, and my ruler. Yeah, I always have my ruler, which I feel like these lecturers will not like always see everything, the tiny details. So I would advise for you to really get that edge, like have an upper edge when writing exams, is for every question. When I start is, I'll have my issue, I'll write my issue here and I'll underline it with my ruler. I don't know if you can see it. I'll write issue and underline it with my ruler with red pen. So they'll see that this is the issue. This is where I'm writing my issue, and I list my issues, whether there are 3 issues, 5 issues, 10, whatsoever, how many numbers, I don't really care. Then the second thing is same thing for your rule. You write rule/principle, whichever one the lecturer might like. You rule it again. You go down, break down your rules, your principles, all the laws you want to bring out, all the laws you want to implement, all the laws you want to incorporate. There. Same thing for application. You really, that's what I normally do. So I have like headings, and I please, as much as possible, give spaces. Your handwriting, if your handwriting is not legible, make it legible, like make it something that they can always see. So please give spaces, like give spaces. You don't want to stress whoever is marking your scripts, because the person has to be marking them, be feeling like, the person knows what he's saying. You're giving the person time to read, to like see your work and get to know what you are giving the person. There needs to be a sequential flow of what you're writing. Don't go up and down. That's why I told you, when you're applying the rules, be very precise, stay relevant to what you are saying. Don't decide to go and say everything because you have other authorities. Other authorities that will help you. You can decide to write C also. They might not be so relevant to the case at hand. Okay, so just write C also, but please underline all the headings. The way you write your article or whatever, you have to have headings, blah blah blah. Do the same thing for your exam scripts. It will be very neat. Like, it will be neat. Trust me. I've had a lecturer, not once, not twice, said that they used my scripts to mark other students' scripts. Show you that I did my work. I did my inputs were there. I was not rushing. I was giving space. I was underlining what needs to be underlined. So I would advise to do the same. It's just going to make your work better, like substantial, beautiful, stellar. That's what you want. You need excellence whenever you're doing. So that's for the law problem question. And there's something I always used to do sometimes, like the way I told you about bringing out the legal background first before going into the issue, rule, application, and conclusion. In your rule, I would always tell you something, which is try to make definitions definitable, which is if the maybe the case at hand is bordering on deeds of agreement or lease of agreement whatsoever, don't just bring out the laws and principles. Try defining those terms. So for example, now we all know that a deed is basically a document on paper that is signed, sealed, and delivered. But you're law students, you need to have like extra things. So you'll be like, yeah, according to section 77 subsection 1 of the Conveyancing Act of Western Nigeria 1959, a deed was defined or is defined as legal instruments that are used for legal conveyancing of land or whatever. You see, you define the terms that were or that is in the above scenario given to you. It makes the lecturer will know that this person Your head is here, your head is there. Do you get? So it's not doing extra, but I don't see it as extra. I see it as you are putting in the best. If you have it there, why you the thing is you've read. Come and pour it. That is the cocoa. Come and pour those things for the lecturers to see. It's not for your own knowing sake. It's good to know it and understand it, but carry those knowledge and pour it for the lecturer to be amazed. Like, "Ah, this person, do you get?" So please incorporate that when you're writing your exam follow problem questions. Omo, this video is long, oh yeah. So well, that's that. Then the second part is how to answer law essay questions. Now I'm thinking, should I add these law essay questions in the same video or should I make separate videos? I don't even know. This is so long. So I'll try and make sure that the law essay questions is going to be short. This one I had to research extra because I'm going to talk to every other person, and most of the time we'll get to answer law problem questions a lot more than essay questions. So essay question in law basically or in general requires a lot more than you finding principles or memorizing principles. It needs your head to be open to think critically, analyze questions from a far end. It needs you the ability to think on your feet, to be able to remember things. You get, like, essay is different. And that's why they'll normally tell you that if you're writing essays for like your, exams or whatever, you need that accurate learning. So I think I have to make this video 2 times. Like the law problem questions, I'm done with that. This is the essay part, and this is going to be another video because I think it's quite long and I don't want the stretching. And this is going to be for law students and also for non-law students.